All right, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to When Coffee Meets Tea. I'm Rob Gerard.
I'm Denise Bertolovitz.
Denise, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thank you. Thank you. It's good to be back. I'm excited to be here. I've been thinking about the podcast basically all week.
Me too. And oh God, do the weeks go by fast?
Absolutely. Weeks really go by fast.
They are really going by so fast. And sometimes I think, wow, with quarantine and everything going on, I think, wow, it's just boom,
Yeah.
another year.
I tell you, I'm super excited about the feedback we've been getting from the podcast. It feels really good. Just kind of getting out there and just kind of being our true selves.
Oh, great feedback. I'm so excited. Just really appreciate everybody tuning in and listening to us and allowing us to come into your podcast, into your car, your home, wherever you are, and just giving us this opportunity to share our thoughts and experiences and help better your life.
Yeah, and I know this week we were talking a lot about just like really like goals, right? Like because I know with New Year's that passed and New Year's resolutions are something that is that's like a big thing, right? It's but the thing is, and I know we talk a lot about goals, and that is something I'm super passionate about. Always having goals. I don't care what it is. I don't care if you've achieved every goal you've ever set out to do in your life. I want to know what's your next goal. And not to say you can't be satisfied with where you're at. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, what is it you're working toward? What
Mm,
is it you're working toward?
yeah, exactly. It's interesting because I don't necessarily call them goals. So I like to look at it more as where my focus is going to be. So, of
Mm,
course, obviously, every year or sometimes even quarterly, I'll write down what are my goals. So you can say that they're goals, but at the end of the day, I think you have to really think of it as what motivates you and
mm.
what are you going to say. And so that's why I call it my focus list instead of my goal list.
Really? I've never heard that. You
Yep.
call it a focus
I
list.
call it a focus list
I like that.
because I always go into the decisions that I make toward what my focus list is going to be based on what my motivations are. So,
Mm.
motivations constantly are changing throughout our life,
Yeah.
right? Just like we're changing,
Yeah.
just like our careers are changing, just like our family situations, our personal situations. So that's why I call it a focus list instead of a goal list.
Yeah, I like it. And they've actually done studies, right, where they show that people that actually write down their goals or their focus are actually more likely to achieve what it is they're setting out for than those that don't, than those that just kind of keep it in their own head. And I think that's because, and I could just be making up these stats, because they say like 83% of statistics are made up on the spot. But we have something like 40,000 thoughts a day, something in that neighborhood, right? So like every day, every moment, thoughts are just like boom, boom,
Mm,
boom, kind of
mm-hmm.
going, right? So I might have an important goal, right? And I kind of have that at the forefront of my mind. But eventually, it's going to get lost and drown out in those 40,000 thoughts a day. So if I write it down, not only is that going to help me remember it, but like I am like writing it down. I'm putting energy into this thing already by actually writing it down. It becomes a little bit more real when you write it down.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's funny that you were saying thoughts because I'm thinking, yeah, I'm an overthinker, so I probably have about 85,000 thoughts a day. So that's always very interesting. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, writing things down, right, is definitely going to remind you, putting it in a place that you're going to see every day.
Yeah.
And, you're talking about statistics, and to your point, statistics are, unless you really have a good group of people that you can say, okay, these are the statistics, this is working, this isn't working. I think that you're right. Like a lot of that can be hearsay or nearsay. What's the old saying? Believe nothing you hear and half of what you see, right?
Mm.
A goal is a goal until you make it happen,
Yeah.
right? But where I want to go with that is you're talking about writing them down. And when I hear you say that, I think a lot of our listeners and viewers are thinking, okay, I'm going to write it down in the beginning of the year and I'm going to post it somewhere. Okay, that's fine. But when you have 85,000 or 40,000 thoughts a day, most likely you're just going to get used to it being there and walk by it. So what I like to do when I call it my focus list, or I call it the focus finder at the end of the day, right? You got to find that thought in your head every day. So when you have your list, it's very important to categorize
What was
it.
that word again?
Categorize it.
Okay.
I had a lot of coffee today.
Yeah.
Categorize that by
Is that what that gallon jug is that you have with you?
Yeah. Did you see that?
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
you like that? That's good. Huh?
And it's a gallon of cold brew. So it's been brewing for like 72 hours just sitting there.
Everybody's going to see. I do have a cackle laugh. I really do.
You do have a cackle for sure.
It's okay. It's me.
Yeah.
It's all about just being who we are. So, Dale, let's stay focused.
Yep, absolutely.
Focused.
Absolutely.
So, going back to the daily, like I like to look at it quarterly and say, okay, this is my focus list. This is the focus finder. And when am I going to accomplish this? Am I going to accomplish it in a week, 2 weeks, in a quarter, by the end of the year? Because here's what happens, in my opinion. And again, this is just my opinion. A lot of times people lose their focus or their ambition or their drive to complete their goals because
what was
doing
the last goal you actually achieved? What was the last goal that you set out to do and you did?
being on time.
Wow. Listen,
High five.
let me tell you something, and that wasn't even a setup either. That wasn't even. I was hoping to stump her, but I didn't. Listen, she has absolutely been doing better with being on time. She arrived today. She was early. Unbelievable. I mean, she showed up with an entourage in a tour bus, but that's a totally different topic. But listen, no, she showed up on time, so that was huge.
That was
so,
huge for me.
Listen,
Yeah, and
I
I
want
want
to
to talk about
publicly
that
acknowledge
too.
that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that was big.
And it's interesting that you said that because I don't want to jump too much forward, but in terms of the focus finding list, right? It's number 1, what motivates you. So you're going to identify that. Number 2, you could also look at it as what holds you back. So when I look at what I was wanting to put down on my focus list for 2021, it was being late. And that's a very bad habit that sadly I developed over like a 3-year period. And I just couldn't take it anymore. Like I got to the point where it literally was taking my peace away. So what motivates me is peace, and what's holding me back, being late.
Wow, absolutely.
Right? So this is the thought process behind making a focus list instead of a goal list. Because a lot of times goals are just, okay, I have all these goals. Goals sometimes become unrealistic because we look at them like, I want to be, I want to do all these things. And a lot of times we don't see that, okay, I want to be a doctor, let's say. Okay, that's great. But if we're not focusing down here in terms of the starting process of getting here, we're not going to get there. So a lot of times, okay, the total normal focus goal of the year, I want to be fit. I want to have muscles. I want to look good. I want to feel good. But what people don't realize is that it takes time, right? I read something the other day. It was so funny. It said, you're not Amazon Prime. Your new body's not going to be here in 2 days, right? It takes time, right? So focus on the little things to get to the big things.
Listen, shout out to Prime because sometimes it gets there like within 18 hours.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, oh my God. You know what's crazy is first of all, shopping has gotten to the point where like I don't even have to go out anymore. But I've been shopping on Walmart.com, right? And no, we're not sponsored by them, so I don't even know why I'm mentioning it. But but I've been I'll shop on Walmart.com. I'll place an order at 8 a.m. It'll be to my house by noon.
Wow.
I'm not kidding. I'm
wow.
not kidding.
Don't
so,
tell me these things.
Listen, I know, crazy, crazy. But let me tell you, so definitely one of my goals for 2021 is to be healthier and to get in a better shape. And even though that is your absolute number one cliche thing, I think sometimes New Year's resolutions or goals or whatever it is you want to call it, the reason why they're so popular, I think, is because a lot of times it works, right? And New Year's, and there being a new year, first of all, the holidays are a super time for reflection, great time for reflection because it's the ending of a calendar, right? So even though it's just another day, January 1st is truly the beginning of a new 365 if you want it to be, if you need it to be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. and it's the start, right? A new beginning, a time to clean the slate and start over.
And let me tell you something. When it comes to like April or October, chances are I'm not really that motivated to get in shape and to get my body back to where I want it to be. But sometimes I need to trick myself into saying, you know what, it's January 1st, it's a new year. Now's as good a time as any. New year, new me. I hate that phrase. It's so overused. But you know what? If that's what you have to tell yourself to like jumpstart your
Mm-hmm.
motivation, because I know I've talked about this with you before. I need to manipulate myself sometimes to get something done.
I think you called yourself lazy.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen,
But
I'm
see, that goes back with what I was saying about what motivates you.
mm,
So, really, that is human nature. If it doesn't motivate us or intrigue us or interest us, then we're going to lose interest, right?
mm,
So, this is why I say we have to really think about who we are as a person. It's awareness every year of what we want to make better and what we want to improve that's not holding us back, and knowing, right? Knowing who we are. And as we go through these processes, we start to understand a little bit more of who we are too,
definitely.
right?
And if there's one thing that I almost kicked over my drink on the floor. There's one thing that I've learned, right, is that everyone is motivated for something. Everyone is motivated for something. So, like,
Absolutely.
for example, like if I'm seeing a client, right, and the client comes to me and he's like, and I'm like, okay, my goal is to find what level, where this guy's motivation or this woman's motivation lies. And if they come to me because they have like a court case or something, and they're here for therapy, but they don't maybe want to really change, they don't think they need to change. In my head, I'm like, okay, where's your level of motivation? What's motivating them? They're
Mm,
like, and I'm like, why are you here? And they're like, well, I'm here because the judge said I had to be here. And I say, okay, great. Okay, the judge says you have to be here.
mm,
Well, you probably need a letter of compliance for your next court date, right? I can help you with that. Let's help you accomplish that. But here's what I'm going to need from you. I'm going to need you to show up every week. So as long as I can figure out what that person, or I'll speak for
mm.
myself, if as long as I figure out what my motivation is, chances are that my I want to be healthy, but I'm not that motivated to the point where I'm willing to change everything just for my health. But I'll tell you what, I want
Mm-hmm.
to look good without it. I want to be riding my Harley Davidson without a shirt on this summer. I'll tell you that much. That's where my motivation
Easy
really
there,
is.
easy there,
That's where
easy
my
there.
motivation is. Okay, I want the girls swooning as I ride by. So, if that's my motivation, great, because I'm still going to accomplish the end goal, which is going to be good for my health.
Yeah, absolutely. And when again, and this is where I always challenge people to really think about your goals in terms of how you're going to gain. So it's not just, okay, I want to look good, or okay, I want good health. The big thing behind your focus list, your goal list, is identify the item and then ask yourself why. Why is it that you want to have better health? Why is it that you want to have a better job? Why is it that you want to be on time? Because
Mm.
I can sit here and tell you all I want. Okay, this is my goal list. I want to be on time. But at the end of the day, okay, that's great. I want to be on time. But why do I want to be on
Probably because
time?
you want Rob to get off your back about it.
Well, yeah,
So
that's
if
true.
that's the case, right?
Number one.
Here's the deal. If that is your main motivation, just so you don't have to hear me, then who cares? And that's what I tell people.
Yep,
I'm like,
absolutely.
honestly, who cares what your motivation is if you are changing that bad habit? I know people are like, well,
Yep.
what's your intent behind it? I need to know your motive. And it's like, well, listen, if I'm helping an old lady cross the street, and the only reason why I'm helping her is because I want to look good in front of that girl who's watching, who cares? Because
Oh,
at the end of the day, I'm still helping her cross the street. I'm still
yes.
helping the old lady cross the street. So who cares what my motive is? Because bring your butt and your mind will follow, kind of thing. So if I can start doing the good behaviors now, hopefully eventually my mind will follow.
Action, right? It's
Yeah,
action.
definitely.
But I do have to say, though, I would debate that if we were debating, because I would say it's not what you do when people are looking, it's what you do when people are not looking
Well, of
that
course,
matters.
but there's levels to this, right? There's levels to this. So without a doubt, how are you behind closed doors? How are you when no one's looking? The gold standard is to be a good person all the time. But if I'm starting
Absolutely.
out at ground zero and I'm not gold, I'm not even silver. If I'm bronze, then I've got to start somewhere. So
Yeah, that's
if I'm
absolutely right.
used to doing nothing good and I start doing something good just to look good, then okay, you know what? It is what it is. It's not good motives, but at least I'm doing the right thing.
You know what? And then to your point, right? The more you do, the more it becomes normal. It becomes the
Definitely.
habit. So, and
Definitely.
I do have to say that I agree on that. And then, you know, determining. So that's interesting. You said that because when I talk about the focus list, and I love to hear your goals
Mm,
too. When I talk about the focus list, this is what I do. I actually pick one theme of my year.
mm.
So this year, 2021, my theme is peace. So now what I
What, like a
do,
piece of cake?
oh, I love
A piece of
cake.
pie?
A piece,
A piece of coffee cake?
uh,
Like a big, like
I
big.
love cake.
Oh, what's your
It's
favorite
like,
cake?
oh my God. Let's see. Well, I like all cake, but I'd have to say that my mom makes this really good like marble cake. It's chocolate and vanilla,
Mm.
and it's not from a box. So, you know,
Is there frosting on it, or is it
yeah,
just
homemade.
wow?
Yeah.
Your mom makes the
Yeah.
cake and the frosting homemade.
Yeah,
Man,
she
she is a
does.
keeper.
But she like
She is your
but
mom
she
is a keeper.
well, you know, there's other I don't know about that, but you know, we all have our issues.
I need a good chocolate and peanut butter cake personally. Anything that's
Oh
chocolate
my
and
God,
peanut
the
butter.
Reese's peanut butter
Listen,
one from Stop and Shop.
I don't
Not that we are sponsored by them, but they
no.
are so good. Oh
Listen,
my God.
anything. So, anyways, okay. So,
Okay,
so
so
your
focus
theme is
list, so
peace.
peace. But then what I do is so that's how it makes it easy for me to break it down. So now I say, okay, peace. And I'll just give you two in my category.
Okay.
Well, you already know I'll give you two of the other ones.
Yep.
So peace with people. And what I mean by this is not peace with people as in like,
So no more bar fights for Denise.
oh yeah. I
No
mean
more
like
bar room brawls.
doesn't it sound like that?
No
It makes
more
it sound like I'm
octagon.
just nasty.
Yeah.
But this is what I mean by that. Peace with people, meaning peace toward being able to say no to people. So, but still being able to maintain that
That's
relationship.
a hard word to say. A lot of people have a
Ooh, it's
problem
hard.
saying no to people.
Yeah.
And you know, because I think when it comes down to it, most of us, to an extent, it's human nature to be people pleasers. So
Oh my
we don't
gosh.
want to disappoint people.
No, and that is my biggest thing is peace over people meaning or peace with people. I really should say peace over people because I do look at my history as a person and I say, "Ooh, yeah, I've overcommitted or overpromised or just been in situations that I've made the wrong decision for the
Mm.
wrong people and lost my peace or
Wow.
my happiness."
Wow.
It's pretty
That's
deep.
deep.
Well, you know, 2020
Jinx.
jinx.
Buy me a Coke.
2020 was
That's
my
deep.
year of mental health and really awareness and thinking about who
You
I
really
am
you
and
got back on the horse in 2020.
I did. I did.
And I don't even just mean
Yep.
with, drinking. Um,
Oh my God. I don't even drink. What's wrong with you?
listen, no, but you really, seriously, I mean, you and I were able to reconnect, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that I didn't have, I had a lot I was working on too, as we all do, if, in my opinion, I feel like if you're not working on yourself, if you don't tell me what you've accomplished in the last year, then that tells me you're probably avoiding something. And I don't care. You could be
Mm.
a happy, well-adjusted, good marriage, good family and stuff. But what are you working on? No one's perfect. So what are you working on?
Yeah, that's like so. And it's interesting to your point because that was the theme of last year for me was I had regressed so much of many things in my past that were starting to come out and I had a choice. I could either run from those things or I could be brave and face them and dig deeper and
Mm,
figure out where. So I'm really happy because I really do feel like it's evolved me in a new way of thinking.
yeah.
I guess the best way to say it is it's given me a new set of eyes to look at life in a different way and to start thinking a little bit more about myself.
I love it.
and my happiness.
I love it. I
So,
love it.
and that's what your goals should be. Okay, your goals should be
Hold on. Don't
about.
don't tell me what my goal should be.
Oh yeah, your
Don't
goals
tell
should
don't
be
tell me
that.
what my goal should be.
Oh, I'm gonna tell you what your
Listen.
goals should be.
Well, listen. Here are my goals. Okay, my goals definitely, like I said, exercise a little bit more.
Hmm.
I love, and I go through these phases, right? Like I go completely gung ho with something, and then the next month I'm like, oh, on the next thing. Um, but I tell you what, I don't know if you've seen that show on Netflix or follow them on Instagram called The Home Edit, and it's basically
Mm-mm,
just about
I've
like
not heard.
organizing and stuff. So it's about
Oh, I love
completely being organized. I mean, containers, labels, the whole nine. My friend Morgan actually, she put me onto it, and she recommended it. Phenomenal. And another thing that I think I want to do, I want to make sure that I want to maintain my focus on my finances in 2021.
that.
I
Oh
have
yeah.
specific financial goals that I have set that I want to accomplish. And I know I can accomplish them if I stay disciplined. And that's what it comes down to, I think. A
Yeah.
lot of these goals, we were talking before the show about this, a lot of these goals that we set, our focus, our New Year's
Yeah.
resolutions, whatever you want to call them, we need to maintain a level of discipline if we want to accomplish these things. And I think that's probably why people fall off sometimes, right? Like
Oh,
why do
absolutely.
people just give up on their goals?
Well,
Or just say, you know what, I'm throwing the towel.
okay, I'm gonna throw one out there that most people would not think of.
Okay.
And this again is my opinion, but being a life coach, I think that the biggest thing is self-worth. A
Mm.
lot of people give up on their goals because they just really don't believe in themselves enough or think they're worthy enough to actually accomplish that goal.
Wow.
And then the other thing is they get distracted. They get distracted by every day. Things happen. We have family, we have priorities, we have careers, whatnot. So, distractions and how we feel about ourselves are a big deterrent, a big, big thing. And when I talk about you're feeling a person who feels that they're not worthy of accomplishing success or a better feeling of who they are or a feeling of peace or a financial goal, oftentimes do not feel good about themselves. They will sabotage themselves. So, a person who has a low self esteem or other issues going on may not accomplish that
Mm.
because, again, there's a self saboteur factor in that. Like, what do you think about that?
Well, I think you bring up a good point about self worth and about feeling good about yourself and just having a healthy level of self esteem. And
Mm,
I think there's a few reasons because of that. Well, one, if you are feeling or someone's feeling so down on themselves, it could be clinical depression. And I'm going to get through a
mhm.
lot of other things it can be. And I'm not someone that just jumps out the window right away and recommends medication, but because I definitely think that there's a over prescribed amount of
Mm,
people,
mhm.
just in general in the United
Absolutely.
States. But I do think that a lot of people can benefit from some certain medications. But when it comes like to self worth and stuff, I think if we want to do things to make us feel better, then we need to start doing things that we feel good about.
Absolutely.
So if
Absolutely.
you're out there and you're in surrounding yourself with bad people, if you have toxic relationships, if you um, are cheating on your wife or cheating on your husband, any of those things, you hate your job, chances are you are not going to feel that good about yourself at the end of the day. So do things that you can be proud of and do things that you can look in the mirror about. And having goals is
Mm,
huge because here's the thing, some of us are stuck at jobs we don't like. So if I'm stuck at a job I don't like but I need it to pay the bills, what am I doing to hopefully in the future move on from that? I need to have a goal. Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go back to school. I'm going to get an associate's degree at the community college. I'm going
mm,
to go out and I'm going to get certified as a life coach. Or I'm going to go out and I'm going to get licensed as a E1 electrician. Like whatever the case is, you can always improve your situations. We have all of us have been dealt a different deck of cards. We all have different privilege, so whatever it is you have to overcome, hopefully you have people in your life that can help you stay focused on that.
Yeah, you just made a great point, and I love how you said eliminating yourself from toxic people, because at the end of the day, the most likely person who is going to accomplish their goal or their focus list is the person who believes in themselves. But what helps us believe in ourselves? When we have encouragement from others, when we are in the right circle, when we find our tribe.
Yeah.
Okay, our positive tribe, our hey, you got this, you can do this. At the end of the day, when you put yourself around people that believe in you,
Oh, yeah.
you are going to achieve.
You are absolutely correct. You are who you hang with. And don't get me wrong. Listen, I have a couple knuckleheads I hang with. I have a couple people where I'm like, whew.
I hope they're not listening.
Listen, I have a couple
No
people.
names.
The moment the phone rings, I see it's them, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be nothing but drama. This is going to be nothing but chaos. But you know what? Here's the thing. I definitely have one or two of those kind of people in my life, but the good people, stable people, healthy people far outweigh the negative ones.
Absolutely.
And I don't cut off every single person in my life that I feel like I'm not getting from or is negative, because here's the thing, there were people there for me when I was negative. There were people there for me when I was the one calling that had that drama and chaos. So I think as long as, and that's part of giving back, and part of giving back is that spiritual food. That's how we eat, when we can give back and help others. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Feed the soul, right?
Yeah.
And it's interesting you said that, because I love that you said that. Not everyone, look, we're human. We have our ups and downs, and I'm not saying find friends that are Mary Poppins. You're not, because you got to be careful. That could be fake friends.
Yeah.
Right? So you have to just follow your intuition and
follow your gut, like we talked about in the last episode.
Right? Follow your intuition and find your tribe. Find the people that are aspiring to be better themselves. You want to find people that have common interest, common goals, and that's what you want to surround yourself with.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
And I am a big believer, though, that I do think that writing down accomplishments on a daily basis, including your goals, is very important. So every day you're going to write down, okay, tomorrow I have to go grocery shopping, or tomorrow I have to do this report. But then in addition to that, don't lose sight of your goals for the year. What are you going to do to get one step closer? So if I say I'm going to go to school, okay, then obviously there are different points of that I need to apply, right? I need to get my books. I need to pick my classes. So every day you could be moving one step forward, right? What is that? The journey starts with one step. And you're not going to get to that journey unless you take that first step. And that's where developing realistic and achievable goals and focus is important, because you have to know how many steps that it takes to actually get there and not lose that steam, right? And that's another thing, is people lose sight of their goals or stop doing it because they start too fast. So don't start fast, slow and steady wins the race.
Wow, I love it. And I think that is a perfect place to wrap this up. I think we had a lot of good talk about goals, about motivation, and, just kind of staying focused. And just a reminder, guys, we are on Instagram. You could check us out on Instagram at When Coffee Meets Tea Podcast. All of our links are in the bio, whether if it's the website, if you want to find the link to go to Candlewood Coffee to find our special blend of Robbie's Roast or
Denise's Positivity.
Yes. The sales have been great on that, by the way. We spoke with Candlewood Coffee earlier this week, and they're like, yeah, bags are moving. So this is, it's a beautiful thing. And, it is great what they're doing there. And I want to give a shout out to Paul, who is here now, who is helping us with, with our video production and whatnot. He is awesome. He is amazing. So we're just
CSB graduate.
Absolutely, represent
alma mater.
Yeah, definitely. So thank you very much, guys, for tuning in, and this has been pretty cool so far. When Coffee Meets Tea podcast, and I'm just happy to be here at you, Denise. I mean, this is killer.
This is great. I do. I look forward to our time, and just, what I love the chats we have and the things we have to share. And there's so much going on in the world, and just to know that you have the right people in your tribe and the right people by your side and wanting you to be better You know, you laugh that you say that goal was because you give me a hard time, but you know what? I always say the people that care about you the most are going to be the ones that have the loudest voice because they don't want to see you fail and they don't want to see you look foolish or frazzled, like not have peace. So sometimes don't take things so personal,
Oh, yeah.
right? Step back when people say things and they criticize or don't. It's not criticism. It's
Feedback.
making someone better.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that should be a big focus, I think, for all of us in 2021.
All right. So with that being said, guys, we're wrapping up another episode of When Coffee Meets Tea. Check us out on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, however you're listening or watching. Thank you very much. And I'm Rob Gerard.
I'm Denise Pertalovitz. Thank you.
Have a good one, guys.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode. You can check out other episodes of our podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever else podcasts are streamed. Find us on Instagram at When Coffee Meets Tea Podcast or www.whencoffeemeetstea.com. Rob and Denise want to thank the listeners.